I think age is going to play. Eubank is 35. Benn is 28. I think maybe youth gets served. I'm looking at X factors. I think Eubank could go about the same approach he should. Control the outside, catch Benn coming in. Benn will try to get in, moving his head, which he did in spots really well. Get inside, and then once you get inside, set up camp, go to work. Try to go to the body and the head. Try to break down Eubank. Try to drag him into the deeper waters maybe with the older guy. At the end of the day, Eubank is the favorite again. You know, he deserves to be. He won the first time. And he won the fight. He won it clear. Great fight, but he won it clear. I'm going to go the other way. I love both guys. I love their fathers. I love what they did for the sport the last time. But I'm going to say maybe youth gets served. I'm going to go with the mental side. I already explained the physical. I'm going to go with the mental.
Teddy Atlas leans toward Conor Benn. He sees Benn's youth, head movement, and inside pressure dragging the older Eubank into deep water late. He expects Eubank to try and control range, but believes Benn's pace and body work will break that rhythm when it matters. Even though Teddy Atlas leans toward Benn, Gareth A. Davies pushes back. He sees Chris Eubank as the likely winner. He stated, "I just see Chris Eubank doing the same." Again, this flips the momentum of the discussion and puts the burden on Benn to show clear improvements. If Eubank repeats the same plan with sharp jabs and steady control, the rounds could look familiar on the cards. Benn then needs visible adjustments, better entries, smarter pressure, and cleaner body work to change the picture. The matchup becomes a test of method versus urgency, discipline versus disruption. Small edges in timing and positioning may decide close frames. With this split of opinions, the stakes feel even higher as every tactical choice matters. But Eddie Hearn, Conor Benn's promoter, states with full confidence that Conor will win this fight.
I mean, he has to win this fight for redemption. If this is Eubank Benn 4, and the Benns are yet to pick up a victory, and this could be the last chance.
This statement clarifies the expectations from Benn's own camp and sets a firm performance standard. It emphasizes that the outcome carries professional and reputational weight. It also indicates that previous results are part of the evaluation and that progress is required. The message outlines a clear objective: secure a decisive result to move the career forward. It acknowledges the consequences of not meeting that objective. Overall, it presents the fight as a necessary step for redemption and continued momentum. Eddie Hearn doubles down on who Conor Benn really is: power with purpose. He makes it clear Benn's aggression will be smarter, while Eubank will struggle once the pace and accuracy rise.
Yeah, Conor's a Benn, you know, and you can talk about boxing and being smart, but he's violent and he's ferocious, and that's what makes him what he is. That's what made his dad what he is. And you're never going to take that away from a Benn. But you can do it with smart work. You can do it in a more compact and complete way. You can execute the game plan better, and he will do all of those things, but it will come with the same tenacity and violence. And he will bring that, and he'll be punching hard, fast, and sharp on November the 15th.
When Benn keeps his shape, his pressure scores clean and often. Quick entries and tight combinations leave little for Eubank to answer with. Fast exits shut down the predictable counters Eubank throws. That balance stacks damage and steals the rhythm. Eubank's jab-first pattern won't hold if Benn keeps walking him down with better timing. Benn just needs to trust the plan and not chase wild shots. Controlled pace means the body work starts to tell. If anyone loses composure, it's usually the man backing up. Stay composed, and Benn turns rounds into a run. Hearn says the last fight was head over head, and Benn still nearly flipped it. This time, composure and shot selection turned Benn's engine into winning rounds, not messy trades.
Last time there was no composure. It was all emotion. I mean, listen, it gave the 70,000 and the millions watching around the world just one of the greatest fights we've seen. But, you know, I think the corner, his dad, everyone will be thinking, what are you doing? But we know he's got heart, we know he's got bottle, we know he's got balls, but he's also much, much better than that. He's a better boxer than than Chris Eubank Jr. as well.
A steady jab and calm feet let Ben bank rounds without giving Eubank cheap openings. Targeting the body slows Eubank's legs and exposes the same patterns as before. Ben doesn't need firefights, he needs clean entries and clear exits. Slip, answer, reset, make Eubank repeat the same mistakes. Own the tempo and the ring geography. With patience, Ben's accuracy becomes control. When Eubank tries to rally, discipline beats noise. Pride swings get punished, tidy boxing gets rewarded. Keep the plan first, and Ben takes the argument away from the judges. On the corner switch, Hearn gives Bomac his respect, but doesn't buy a late career reinvention. From Ben's side, this looks like a fitter Eubank, not a smarter one.
But Bomac's a great trainer. You know, I mean, he's got a tremendous stable of fighters. Of course, Terence Crawford, the cream of the crop there. What is he going to add technically to Chris Eubank Jr. at this stage? I think what he would have added is probably a greater intensity in his training. I think Eubank doesn't like to listen to people. I think he does his own thing. But I think probably he's remembering how tough that fight was for him and wanted to take it even more seriously this time around. And Bomac's going to get the best out of you. I don't think technically it will be enough, but I think he might be fitter. I think he's trained harder. But I don't know, you know, the old adage of teaching an old dog new tricks is a classic.
Hard camps raise output. They don't rebuild ring IQ overnight. If Eubank is still the same straight line operator, Ben can predict and punish. Tight pressure, quick angles, and clean exits make Eubank's responses look slow. The real question is depth, and Eubank hasn't shown enough layers. If he brings new looks, Ben adjusts and keeps scoring. If he doesn't, Ben walks him into the same traps. Probe early, read the tells, and set the pace. Once the patterns show, Ben's plan bites harder every round. In that scenario, fitter won't be enough. Hearn doubts Eubank's ceiling and suggests the years are catching up. Toughness is fine, but against a sharper Ben, stubborn grit turns into damage, not dominance.
I don't know. I mean, look, I don't think Eubank's very good as a boxer. You know, one thing he's always been is he's tough. He's not as tough as he once was because he's older. He's made his money, but he's very stubborn, and he was very tough last time because there was a huge amount on the line. And I think whatever happens, he'll stay tough in this fight. Maybe they'll pull him out of the fight. You know, there's a lot of people around him that he said want him to retire. They know how tough it was last time. They know what happened after the fight. Maybe he's too brave for his own good and he's taken out of the fight. It wouldn't surprise me either.
If the pace climbs, Eubank's durability becomes a target, not an answer. Ben's body shots drain the tank and slow the feet that Eubank needs to survive. That's when corners start glancing at each other and making hard choices. Ben's steady scoring makes those choices urgent. Eubank can't win this with brave. He needs clean, sustained rounds he hasn't been banking. One lazy reset and Ben flips a frame. If toughness is the last tool, the toolbox is light. Ben's controlled pressure gives him more ways to win and fewer ways to lose. Precision closes the show, stubbornness doesn't. Teddy Atlas shifts the spotlight from pure skills to mindset and history. He frames the rematch as a mental test where past doubts and pride can tip the balance.
That's the technical. I'm going to say that Eubank had to prove more than Ben. Ben was undefeated, yes. Eubank had been stopped. Eubank had been beaten. Eubank, a lot of people said, you talk like your father, you promote like your father, but you're not your father. You know, when push comes to shove, you're not your father. He had a lot to prove. He had a lot to prove, and he proved it. He proved it. And one other thing.
When a fighter conquers old doubts, the next enemy is comfort. Hunger decides how hard you bite down in close moments. If Ben arrives with sharper focus and something to prove, momentum can swing quickly. Small attitude shifts change risk-taking and round closing. The one chasing respect often works harder than the one defending it. That extra edge shows up in cleaner decisions and steadier pace. If Eubank's urgency dips, the gaps appear. If Ben stays disciplined, those gaps become points. Teddy Atlas reminds us that the last fight had an unexpected family surge that lifted Eubank. He warns that the boost isn't guaranteed this time, so the rematch becomes colder and more technical.
He had a falling out with his father. His father was worried about him making a weight. It could hurt him. He could get hurt. And they didn't talk. And the father wasn't going to come to the fight. And what happened? Well, the father behaved like a father. The father showed up. He came to the fight. And he was there for his son. Wow. What a boost that was. He's not going to have that this time, bud. He had that. What a boost. Nobody knew that was going to be in the cards. Nobody knew that was written into the script. He showed up and he gave that boost to his son. That ain't happening this time. It's been done already.
Without that emotional spark, the night favors preparation over adrenaline. Both corners have to win with a plan, not passion. Benn benefits if the noise drops and execution leads. Clean entries and exits matter more than drama. Eubank must replace past fuel with steady discipline every round. If that consistency isn't there, margins get thin fast. Thin margins reward tidy work and clear rounds. That's where Benn's compact pressure can bank points. Teddy Atlas argues Eubank already cashed his biggest emotional check in the first fight. He says Benn now carries the heavier need to prove more and to push harder.
I think he proved it. I think he had a lot to prove to the fans, to himself, and to his father. I think he wanted to win the love and respect and approval of the father. He did. And that's powerful. He don't have that this time. Maybe he's satisfied a little bit. Maybe. Because he did that already. Benn has more to prove this time. Benn has more psychologically on his side than Eubank does this time. I think that's going to be a difference.
A hungry fighter accepts the grind and keeps coming. That pressure can force errors from a man who feels mission accomplished. Benn's job is to turn intent into accuracy and a steady pace. Composure makes the judges see the difference. Eubank has to show fresh purpose, not just old pride. If that new push isn't real, control slips away. Then Benn's focus turns moments into momentum. Momentum becomes rounds, and rounds become results. Teddy Atlas is clear. The betting favorite is Eubank, yet he personally leans toward Benn. He splits on paper from in the ring, hinting at a live upset. He stated, I'm not going to make a secret. Eubanks is the favorite. I like Benn. Favorites carry the burden to tidy up every frame. Underdogs can choose smarter risks and seize swings. If Benn keeps the plan tight and the body work steady, the gap closes. Eubank must bank clean, confident rounds to keep control simple. Any drift into messy trades invites trouble. Benn's urgency turns that trouble into leverage. With clear shots and calm feet, leverage becomes scorecard control. That's how an upset takes shape without fireworks. Carl Froch weighs age, mileage, and the grind of a hard first fight against any just do it again talk. He hints that small fixes from Benn, calmer tempo, cleaner entries, could flip tight rounds.
I mean, the right man got his hand held. Can Eubank do the same again in the rematch at 36, getting on for 37, isn't it? In his 37th year. So I think that would have took a bit out of him. If he get clipped early, and he really had to work hard and dig deep in the last 3 or 4 rounds. And that takes a little bit out of you at that age. When you're younger, you grow from it, you learn from it, you come back a bit stronger. But when you're older, it takes a bit out of you. And Conor Benn's getting better. He's improving. He'll learn a lot from that first fight. So this fight for me is a lot closer. Conor can catch him and calm it down a little bit on the outside and not rush like he was rushing his work and all his head movement and little short steps and all this on the outside. Unnecessary energy getting wasted for 12 rounds. Yeah. If you can just calm that down a little bit, and he's Tony Sims in his ear just to settle it down in the sparring. I think there could be a different decision on this one. I sort of fancy Conor Benn. He's got to make.
If Benn saves energy and keeps his head movement purposeful, he won't burn out in the late stretch. That helps him pick better moments and land the cleaner shots. Eubank must prove that the last push didn't take more than it gave. If his reaction's slow, Benn's timing starts to shine. Then the rounds look different on the cards. The rematch becomes about who managed the details, not who shouted the loudest. Judges notice economy and clean success, not wasted twisted motion. Corner instructions start to matter more than crowd noise. Small shifts in pacing and jab placement can tip a close fight. Froch steps back from the hype and asks what's really on the line. He notes the favorite label, but questions the why now when no belts or fresh stakes are attached.
Eubank the favourite, because he's bigger and he's naturally bigger, and usually a good big one beats a good little and all that, but in this case, I don't know, it's a close one, but I don't actually think it's a fight. It might be a bit controversial to say this. I don't think it's a fight that needs to happen. I think we've seen it, we've seen the fight, it was great, the right man won, you kind of put it to bed. No world titles. They've both got lost on their records. What's at stake? Nothing. The guys are just doing it.
Without clear rewards, focus can drift and mistakes creep in. That's where a hungrier fighter with a simpler goal can edge it. Ben can turn that clarity into steady pressure and clean scoring. Eubank must create purpose with control and ring generalship every round. If he doesn't, the narrative tilts toward the man still climbing. In a close fight, purpose often decides the final inches. The crowd's vibe won't save messy rounds. Judges lean on ring generalship, effective aggression, and defense. The last two frames can become the whole argument. Froch speaks like a purist. He wants risk, meaning, and pride over paydays. He warns that when money becomes the headline, the craft can fade.
Yeah, listen, they all want to get paid, don't they? 100%. As a boxing purist, when I watched Nassim Hamid fight in Kelly and he got dropped, my heart was pounding. I was nervous and I didn't want my hero to get beat. I mean, these fights, some of these fights now you see, it's just all about money. And it takes it away from me.
That challenge puts accountability on both corners to bring intent, not just promotion. Ben can answer by boxing with discipline and making every attack count. Eubank must match that with clean structure, not just toughness. If either man coasts, the other takes the initiative. When the work is honest, the rounds feel earned. That's the standard Froch is asking for in this sequel. Fans feel the tension when real risk replaces safe exchanges. Smart, accurate bursts beat empty flurries every time. The winner is the one who keeps values and tactics aligned under pressure. Carl Froch fires a reality check on weight, saying Eubank is a true middleweight, not a big 168 guy. It turns the rematch lens to cuts, recovery, and how the scale might shape the fight itself.
And I don't think Chris is a super middle either.
No,
he's not big enough for 168, so he's got to say that he's a 165.
He's not even a big middleweight.
No, he's not. So I think he's making a lot of being 160 and doing the weight training because he's kind of a get out, but he gets beat, yeah, but I'll tell you the weight. Listen, you can do 160. It is hard for you to do. But have a look at what your dad used to do to make weight. Starving himself for a week and sitting in saunas and, you know what I mean, sucking on little frozen peas. Fighters do.
Tough weight cuts can sap late round energy, punch resistance, and snap. If that shows, Ben's fast pace and body work become twice as effective. Eubank would need a strict jab, smart clinches, and a calm tempo to protect the tank. Ben's job is simpler. Make him work, touch the ribs, and test the legs after 6. If the engine dips, judges start seeing cleaner Ben rounds. That's where the number on the scale becomes the turning point. Extra strain can also slow reactions, making counters arrive a beat late. If Ben senses that lag, he can layer feints and step in with confidence. In a close fight, those small physical edges often decide the night. After all the talk about age, weight, and motivation, a fellow active contender steps in with a clear call. He backs Ben's pace, sharp shots, and late round engine to carry the night.
I think Conor Benn comes out on top. I anticipate round 13 they're going to go straight into it, but my prediction for Saturday is Conor Benn.
If Ben keeps the pressure tidy, his work rate turns into clean scoring. Short, accurate bursts and steady body shots can slow Eubank's rhythm. The key is composure. Enter, land, exit, and reset. Eubank must answer with firm jabs and controlled tempo, or the rounds drift away. In tight frames, small edges in timing and discipline decide the cards. With momentum building, one strong stretch can seal the result. Ben's corner just needs him to be consistent, not reckless. If he avoids waste and keeps his feet set, the cleaner work shows. That's the path this pick is pointing toward. Gareth A. Davies shifts focus from pure hype to the reality of selling a rematch. He notes the weather, the open air setting, and the pressure to recreate a blockbuster night.
I heard rumours that ticket sales weren't going that well. I'm sure you'll have heard the same. But I think by the end of the week, the weather's set fair, by the way, which a lot of people haven't spoken about. It's supposed to be a fine day, 13 degrees, 9 degrees as the evening goes on. That's important when you've got an outside fight like this. Bottom line is, they created such a great spectacle first time around with all the nuanced layers of the drugs case, the abandonment of the fight for 2.5 years, the egg being smashed at the press conference, the double press conference, obviously Manchester and London, the drama of Eubank Sr. coming, what they delivered on the night, the whole build-up, the whole picture was brilliant. The fear I have is that they can't replicate it.
Conditions matter when every seat needs a reason to be filled. Last time, storyline and chaos did half the promotion. This time, the fight itself must carry more weight. If the opening rounds crackle, the crowd leans in fast. If it starts slow, memories of the first thriller begin to overshadow the present. Benn's urgency can spark the arena. Eubank's control can steady it. One big moment can flip the noise from cautious to electric. That's the thin line they're walking under clear skies. A clean knockdown or a sudden momentum swing changes everything. The rematch sells itself only if the action justifies the stage. Davies points out the buildup hasn't had the same wild stunts, just a few jarring images and echoes from last time. He contrasts it with the Father's trilogy era, when demand grew between fights.
There haven't been many big stunts in the build-up. The ambulance not leaving the ground released this week, the pictures of Chris Eubank looking emaciated in hospital and beaten up from the last fight, are obviously been the big stories leading into this in the last couple of weeks. But other than that, it's a prize fight. It's a prize fight, and if you look historically, Eamon, their fathers fought 3 years apart, 1990 and 1993. Chris Eubank Sr. had 11 world title fights between those two fights, and Nigel Benn had 4 world title fights and 10 fights in all. So there was a clamouring, a desire for that second fight between the pair of them.
Without fresh spectacle, substance has to lead. That means cleaner tactics, sharper timing, and clearer rounds. If Benn sets a pace with purpose, the narrative writes itself. If Eubank keeps shape and lands the tidier work, the crowd starts to respect the method. History is on the table, but it won't win the rounds for them. They need moments that feel new, not recycled clips. Late pressure against disciplined counters creates that tension. The winner will be the one who turns tension into control. Small shifts at the end of rounds can steal points. Stack a few of those and the decision follows. He adds that this sequel exists because backers see value, not because belts demanded it. The money is big, the names are bigger, and the risk is real.
I think the only reason we're getting this second fight is because it's a brainchild of Turki Al Sheikh. He's underwriting it, Ring Magazine are behind it. They're getting paid extraordinarily well. And I think that's the reason for it. It's just a mega prize fight between two big names. It delivered last time. If it delivers in terms of the fight itself this time, then we're on to a winner. But
when the purse is huge, focus can sharpen or crack. The smart fighter treats the stage as fuel, not a distraction. Benn can turn ambition into steady scoring and bodywork that tells late. Eubank must make every minute neat and convincing to keep the edge. If either man chases headlines instead of clean shots, momentum slips. But if the action delivers again, the sequel earns its place. One surge can turn doubts into cheers. That's how a prize fight becomes a night people remember. Discipline turns pressure into points, and points stacked cleanly decide careers. All signs point to a razor-close sequel defined by composure and small edges. Benn's case rests on cleaner pressure, better shot selection, and steady body work. Eubank's case leans on range control, a firm jab, and round-by-round discipline. Age, weight management, and motivation keep tilting the scales back and forth, while the build-up drama is replaced by the need to execute. In a fight this tight, the winner is the one who wastes less, scores cleaner, and stays calm when the pace bites. What do you think? Do you think youth and engine beat experience and ringcraft here? Which matters more on the night, Benn's bodywork or Eubank's jab? Does Bomack's camp make a real difference? Or is Eubank mostly the same fighter? How big is the weight cut story for you? And does it show after 6? If it's close, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll be reading everything. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and tune in for more breakdowns like this.